AI-powered news. Human-reviewed. This is Neural Newscast.
Neural Newscast Global. I'm Andrew Lindbeck. Today is August 18th, 2025. On this day in 1920, the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified by Tennessee, securing women's suffrage and granting American women the right to vote nationwide. International headlines coming up. Torrential rains and flash floods have devastated northern Pakistan, killing hundreds and sweeping away entire villages. Here's Monica Kellen with more.
Hundreds of people die as torrential rains, flash floods, and landslides sweep across northern Pakistan. Entire villages in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Gilgit-Baltistan wash away overnight, with homes, roads, and bridges destroyed. Rescue teams evacuate thousands to higher ground as swollen rivers cut off remote valleys. Officials report dozens still missing and warn of more rain this week. Schools and markets close, and power and water systems fail in multiple districts. Pakistan's disaster agency urges people to move to safer areas, saying lives come first. The government pledges emergency funds and rapid rebuilding.
A major hurricane offshore is driving dangerous waves and currents along the U.S. East Coast, officials warn. Here's Samuel Green with more.
A powerful Category 4 Hurricane Erin drives life-threatening surf and rip currents along the U.S. East Coast. Forecasters warn large breaking waves and strong longshore currents threaten beaches from Florida to New England. Coastal impacts peak through the weekend, even if the storm stays offshore. Officials urge swimmers and surfers to stay out of dangerous water and heed flags and lifeguards. Mariners face hazardous seas and shifting winds. Beach erosion and minor coastal flooding are possible at high tide. The National Hurricane Center calls the conditions life-threatening for anyone entering the surf.
Thousands are fleeing Gaza City after orders and fears of a new Israeli offensive, officials and witnesses say. Here's Cassandra Joyce with more.
Thousands of Palestinians leave Gaza City, fearing a renewed Israeli offensive and ordered evacuations. Families stream south on foot and by cart, carrying bags and children. Israel signals a next phase of the war against Hamas and circulates maps directing residents below Gaza City. The Israeli military says the moves aim to protect civilians while targeting militants. Palestinian officials warn of worsening shortages of water, fuel, and medical care. Israeli protesters, meanwhile, rally against plans that could entrench occupation. Regional tensions rise as aid groups call for safe corridors and a sustained ceasefire.
A BBC team witnessed masked settlers attack a Palestinian farm near Hebron while filming harassment claims. Here's Laura Navarro with more.
Masked men storm a Palestinian farm in the occupied West Bank during an interview, scattering workers and smashing equipment. The attack happens near Hebron as a BBC crew films a farmer describing repeated harassment. Witnesses say at least 5 masked settlers charge the field, hurl stones, and slash irrigation lines. Israeli police and the army later arrive. No arrests are reported at the scene. Palestinian officials condemn rising settler violence this year. An Israeli spokesperson says security forces will investigate and enforce the law.
Bolivia's presidential race moves to a runoff after no candidate secured an outright victory in early counts. Here's Thomas Golding with more.
Bolivia's presidential race heads to a runoff after no candidate wins outright. Early results show centrist Senator Rodrigo Paz leading the field, outpacing right-wing frontrunners but falling short of 50%. The runoff will decide control of a polarized nation facing inflation pressures and political gridlock. His campaigns on institutional reform and economic stability. His right-wing rivals focus on crime, mining policy, and a tougher stance on protests. Election officials say final certified results will set the runoff date in the coming weeks.
Putin has floated a land for peace idea reportedly discussed with Trump, shifting pressure to Ukraine's leadership. Here's Nathaniel Cohen with more.
Russia's president proposes a land for peace deal, shifting pressure onto Ukraine's leader. In Alaska, Vladimir Putin tells Donald Trump that Ukraine should hand over the remaining Donbas territory to end the war. The proposal targets areas Russia does not fully control. It reframes talks from ceasefire terms to borders and sovereignty. The move puts Volodymyr Zelensky on the spot to reject or negotiate. It also tests Western unity on territorial concessions. Kiev continues to insist on full restoration of its 1991 borders. This is Nathaniel Cohen for Neural Newscast.
Breaking news is up next. A UK smuggling case ended with prison sentences after cannabis worth millions was found hidden inside wooden flooring shipments. Here's Lydia Holmes with more.
2 men go to prison for smuggling 9 million pounds of cannabis into Northern Ireland, hidden in wooden flooring. Investigators identify the operation and arrest Yudong Oyang and Gary Han after tracking consignments. Officers intercept the shipments, uncovering tightly packed cannabis concealed within pallets of floorboards. A court hears the pair help coordinate logistics and deliveries to mask the drug's origin. Judges hand down custodial sentences, underscoring the scale and planning involved. Authorities say the case disrupts a significant supply line and protects communities. One official calls the concealment method sophisticated, but says it failed under scrutiny. This is Lydia Holmes for Neural Newscast.
Now, let's share the latest from abroad. Myanmar plans to hold a general election despite an ongoing civil war and concerns about participation and legitimacy. Here's Robert Klein with more.
Myanmar plans its first general election since the 2021 military coup, even as war rages. Large swaths of the country sit under opposition control, complicating voter access and ballot security. The junta, led by Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, seeks to legitimize its rule through the polls. Ethnic armed groups and the shadow National Unity Government reject the process and hold territory. Election logistics, staffing, transport, and communications face severe disruption. Millions displaced by fighting may struggle to vote. Rights groups warn the vote risks entrenching military power without broad participation. This is Robert Klein for Neural Newscast.
Let's check in on the economic outlook. UK officials are studying replacing stamp duty with a proportional property tax in a potential overhaul of housing levies. Here's Ethan Wells with more.
The UK Treasury weighs replacing stamp duty with a new proportional property tax. Officials study a levy on homes sold for more than £500,000, alongside a broader overhaul of council tax. Chancellor Rachel Reeves prepares the ground for tax changes in this autumn's budget. Ministers ask for modeling on who pays more or less and how revenue shifts across regions. The plan aims to reduce distortions from one-off stamp duty bills and tie taxes more closely to property values.
Washington state's data center boom is creating tax windfalls but straining energy and water supplies in rural counties. Here's Jason Miller with more.
Washington's data center boom delivers big tax windfalls and new strains on utilities. In Grant County, 29 facilities push annual property taxes up 277% to $54 million over nearly 2 decades. Quincy uses its share to build a school, hospital, and fire station, with plans for a soccer complex. But the growth pressures the grid and water supplies, complicating clean energy goals and stirring local opposition. Government Bob Ferguson convenes a state work group with a December 1st deadline for policy recommendations. This is Jason Miller for Neural Newscast.
You're listening to Neural Newscast. Fresh insights every day. Catch up on past episodes anytime at nnewscast.com.
Innovation and tech trends are next. Congress is poised to block state-level AI regulation for a decade, reshaping compliance for businesses across the U.S. Here's Kara Swift with more.
Congress moves to block state oversight of artificial intelligence for 10 years, reshaping compliance for every business. The federal bill's provision prevents individual states from regulating how companies build or use AI systems. That means firms must police themselves on data use, model training, bias, and validation. AI already runs in CRMs, cybersecurity tools, chat platforms, and customer products. Shadow adoption widens risk. With no state guardrails, companies need clear policies, audits, and incident response now. As one CIO warns, trust requires verification.
NIST issues new control overlays designed to strengthen cybersecurity for AI systems across agencies and companies. Here's Benjamin Carter with more.
The National Institute of Standards and Technology releases new control overlays to secure AI systems. The guidance maps concrete cybersecurity steps to common AI risks, from data poisoning to model theft. It helps agencies and companies integrate AI into existing NIST frameworks without guesswork. The overlays cover development, deployment, and monitoring, with controls for transparency, testing, and human oversight. The goal is simple: cut AI failures and attacks before they spread. One line stands out: build, test, and verify before you trust. This is Benjamin Carter for Neural Newscast.
From the Science Desk, here's what's new. Researchers report new findings about how quasicrystals assemble, solving a long-standing materials puzzle. Here's Nathaniel Cohen with more.
Scientists report new evidence for how quasicrystals assemble, resolving a puzzle first posed in 1982. These solids show ordered patterns that never repeat, built from pentagons, decagons, and other shapes. The team finds local atomic rules can drive long-range order without a repeating lattice. That means atoms don't need a global blueprint to form non-repeating structures. The result clarifies how these materials grow and stay stable. It could guide designs for tougher alloys, novel coatings, and heat-resistant components in future devices. This is Nathaniel Cohen for Neural Newscast.
Now, let's share the latest in health. A nurse has resigned, describing dangerous understaffing at a children's cancer unit and warning of risks to patient safety. Here's Laura Navarro with more.
A former nurse at the Royal Belfast Hospital for Sick Children says the cancer unit is dangerously understaffed. She resigns after months of exhaustion and worry for patients. She describes colleagues as broken and burnt out. Families wait longer for chemotherapy and vital monitoring. Fewer nurses means missed breaks, rushed care, and rising safety risks. Senior staff cover extra shifts, but the gaps persist. The whistleblower urges urgent hiring, better rotas, and emotional support to keep skilled nurses at the bedside and children safe.
A cash transfer program in rural Kenya dramatically reduced infant deaths by helping families meet basic needs, researchers find. Here's Isabella Wright with more.
A simple change in rural Kenya saves babies, lives, and it isn't medical. Researchers test a massive program that gives families cash and support. Parents buy food, safe water, and bed nets. They keep clinic visits. Infant deaths drop. Children grow stronger. Mothers report less stress. The impact is concrete and immediate. Small monthly payments and guidance help families meet basic needs and prevent illness. It's a reminder. Stability and dignity are powerful medicine for the youngest lives. This is Isabella Wright for Neural Newscast.
For a science update, here's what's new. A promising gene therapy shows early signs of restoring vision for people with inherited retinal disease in early trials. Here's Amelia Richardson with more.
A new gene therapy shows it can restore vision for people with inherited retinal disease. Andrew, diagnosed in childhood, donates his skin cells to help researchers develop a personalized treatment for him and his young daughter. Scientists reprogram his cells into retinal tissue and correct the faulty gene in the lab. Surgeons then deliver edited cells to the back of the eye in a single procedure. Early results show sharper light perception and improved mobility tests. Andrew calls it a second chance, and trials now expand to more patients. This is Amelia Richardson for Neural Newscast.
That wraps our coverage for this hour. For more, visit neuralnewscast.com and follow us across platforms.
Thanks for listening to Neural Newscast. Stay informed, stay curious, find our full archive at neuralnewscast.com. Neural Newscast merges real and AI-generated voices to ensure rapid, high-quality news production. Our content is created using advanced AI models and rigorously reviewed by humans for accuracy and fairness. Despite efforts to prevent AI errors, occasional inaccuracies may occur. We encourage listeners to cross-check critical details with trusted sources. Read about our AI transparency at nnewscast.com.